Mountain Folks. Some Glimpses of the 100% Americans in the Blue Ridge Country. By Don C. Seitz. The Outlook. September 29th, 1926. We were riding along the road from Luray to the beginning of the ascent to Skyland when the car stopped before a cluster of wayside graves, neatly fenced in iron, but not well kept. Our driver called attention to one of the 3 tombstones within the barrier. It marked the resting place of Elizabeth Hertzberger, long dead. In the ellipse above her name was carved a hand, pointing heavenward. "The story is," he remarked, "that she requested her husband to add this mark of faith, and he did it. But you will see he had his doubts as to where she was heading. Notice the question mark above the hand." Sure enough, the hope of a higher life had been put under the doubting shadow of an interrogation mark. Among the ancient mounds that mark Virginia mountain roadsides are numbers graced with the name of Lincoln, borne by members of the family from which Abraham Lincoln came. The Lincolns were a considerable tribe before they died out or migrated to Kentucky and farther west, which recalls a tale I once heard the late speaker Champ Clark tell. It was about a Lincoln named Henry, whom he believed to be an uncle of the great president. The old man lived alone with his wife in a Kentucky mountain cabin. One night, a prodigious squawking in the hen coop betrayed the presence of a marauder. "Wake up, Henry," called the good woman, "and get your shotgun. Someone's a-stealing the hens." Henry refused to be stirred. "No, mother," he replied. "I won't get the gun. I might hit some of the kin." There are signs of stir in the mountains, echoing the new activity of the plains, induced by the automobile. Yet the people come but shyly from their fastness. A pretty young woman, rather smartly dressed by contrast with most of her sisters, came to us at Skyland with a basket of small, hard peaches, which she sought to sell. She had carried them 2.5 miles over a mountain road 3,600 feet above the level of the sea. Looking barely 20, she said she was married and the mother of 5 children. Yet in all her life, she had never been to Luray, but 6 miles away. She secured now and then a glimpse more of better things than most of her race by visiting the resort. I saw her looking curiously through the door of the serving room at the well-dressed folks around the dining tables, and felt a quick sympathy with so narrow a life. There are about 4 million like it being lived in the South. Under the Volstead Act, the Blue Ridge, the Massanuttons, and the Appalachians might well be called the Mountains of the Moon, with shine added. Once remorselessly hunted by revenuers, the amateur whiskey makers now constitute a class that is almost privileged, and instead of selling the smoky output of their stills at plebeian prices, they can now command for moonshine figures that are fabulous compared with what they once were, when beating the excise tax was the sole source of profit, and added but little to the market value of corn. The absence of any regularly made corn whiskey earns it a premium from those whose palates do not care for imported Scotch, which comes in from the seaboard, and the supply nowhere equals the demand. The convenient method of trade is to leave a $10 bill on a stump with a gallon jug beside it in the wilderness. After a discrete period, the jug will be found full and the yellowback gone. Compared with the moonshine of revenue days, the quality of the distillate seems much better. Some of it might be mistaken for Benedictine by an uncultivated palate. In the best circles, blackberry wine is used for a chaser. This the women make, and they turn out an excellent product. It will be apparent that a large flow of money is thus being sent through the mountains from the lowlands. Instead of being hunted as outlaws, the mountaineers are rapidly becoming a favored class. Of course, none can hope for limousines and other fixings of the metropolitan bootlegger. Still, it is progress. The national government does not bother with them much, the situation being left in the main to local sheriffs, some of whom have zeal, others lack it to the nth degree. Now and then, a special dry agent drops in. They tell this tale anent one of the latter who came into the Powell's Fort country not long since to tread a moonshine trail. He called at the house of the suspect and found a boy at home. "Is Pap at the still?" he inquired genially. "He is," said the boy. "Could you show me the way to it?" "I could for $1, replied the canny youth. "All right," replied the agent. "Come along." "Where's my $1? "Oh, I'll give you that when we come back." "Give it to me now," was the response. "You ain't coming back." No further details were given. The anecdote is in shining contrast, however, with that Corsican tale of Prosper Mérimée, where the boy betrayed a bandit who was hiding in a fodder stack when the chief of the gendarmes promised him a silver watch. In this case, the boy's father took him some way down the road, and, commanding the youth to pray, killed him with a shot from his carbine, adding, "We will have no traitors in our family." Southern mountain boys do not need guardians. The little chaps of 10 or 12 are fine, handsome lads. It seems a pity that they do not live in surroundings that will preserve their early manliness. To grow old in the mountains is to become queer at the same time. I have cultivated the theory that wherever you find rattlesnakes, there dwell poor whites of the self-outcasting type. It is so in the southern hills, the Alleghenies, and the Ramapo and Schaghticoke regions near New York. In all these, the serpents abound. Note the buxom appearance of the young in the family group herewith, when contrasted with their elders. It will perhaps be considered shocking to say that moonshine money is going to improve things in the mountains. Bear in mind, these people, for 2 centuries, have had no opportunity to get money in any quantity in any honest way. Old-fashioned moonshining was perilous and poor in pay. The modern business is just the reverse. The rich people who once despised the hillbillies are now their patrons and protectors. Ambitious young folks from the mountains begin to see chances of escape. Some were always getting away. The trickle is now growing into a stream. The benefits from the fast-coming changes will be large. Remember, this is a 100% American stock that has long laid fallow, choked in industrial competition by conditions it could not overcome, and lodged on such poor lands as to give no chance for prosperity through agriculture. The role of mountain folks who are making good on the plain is constantly growing, while the work of schools like Berea and its kind continue to work unending good. In spite of their chief avocation, the mountain folks are sternly pious. They are fundamentalists who take their religion as they do their liquor, straight. Mountain preachers are men of power. A revival is a foaming piece of excitement. Here are our last primitives.